What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and we are back to talk about Summer House Season 7, Episode 4, Pillow Talk. Okay, y'all, can I tell you something? Lindsay reared her ugly head this episode. We're gonna get into it. Let's get into it, shall we?
Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming with a force. Yes, blessing the reap and we going on.
So, y'all, the episode starts off where Carl and Danielle are still having a conversation, and they end up ending on a very good note. Like, not Carl, child, Kyle and Danielle are having a conversation, and they end off on a good note. I think it's very good that they're talking and trying to work through all this stuff with this whole Carl and Lindsay situation, because as we find out towards later in the episode, they really both have some things to be concerned about with this newfound lovership with no pun intended on lover boy, which is in the next scene with Carl and Lindsay. Okay. So everybody leaves the house. They all go back home and do their prospective things. Sam is working on her brand. Christopher is taking photos, if you will. And then we see Kyle and Amanda at the Loverboy headquarters, which is conveniently located across the hall from their apartment. So I'm like, did they just buy another apartment and make it their office? Loverboy, a lot of people is loving it if that's the case, because apartments in New York are not cheap. But moving on. So they're having a conversation about Carl. Carl is supposed to come over and they're going to talk about his position and whatnot. So Amanda leaves so that Kyle and Carl can have this conversation. So this conversation was very interesting to me. So Kyle starts it off, pretty much kicks it off by saying, listen, we need to have a discussion about, like, tell me what's going on with you. Like, how have you been feeling? Like, what's happening? So Carl is basically like, I just feel like I'm doing everything. Like, I feel like, I have this VP of sales title, but I'm the one that's really the face of the brand. Like, I'm going and meeting distributors, and, I am, going and doing photo ops. I'm going and visiting, locations. Sounds like what a VP of sales does. Yeah. Do you know what a vice president of sales of a business does? You are the face of a brand. You're basically operations. That's a part of selling the product. You have to be the face of selling the product. You have to make sure everything is working well so that you can sell the product. People want to see the person that's handling everything as far as production and things like that. So in order to sell it, you have to have your hands in different pots. Vice president of sales. So Kyle, he's like, I just feel like I'm working. Carl is like, I feel like I'm working like 90 hours a week. Kyle is like, well, that's funny because I'm struggling to see where you're even working 40 hours a week. Then Carl wants to take the barrier down and say, well, you know what? I'm just feeling so much pressure. It's just a lot, and I know that I may have, I may be falling a little short here and there or whatever, but I'm just trying to figure out, where do I focus most of my energy? You listening to Lindsay. I'm starting to see it now. I thought Kyle was just tripping because now he has to focus on losing his friend. Then you got, the dynamics of the relationship changing. All this whole conversation just speaks high volumes of never, 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 ever, ever work with your friends. Okay. And that's just what this screams to me. Like, it's just, this whole conversation was very extremely awkward. And I would not want to have to do this if I was Kyle, because having to manage your friends and then you're still trying to bring up a new, like, his brand is still fairly new. It's not Coors Light. It's not even Angry Orchard yet. Like he's still trying to build his business, and it seems like he's trying to maintain a friendship with his best friend as well. And that's tough because it's difficult to be somebody's boss and be their friend and be effective at both. Okay. And I think that Carl is really trying to find himself. And this is not really the scenario where Kyle needs to be a part of said finding himself. And then you have this bossy big mouth girlfriend that's always in the middle of something. She wants to be the center of everything that she has puts her hands on. Like she's all up. Lindsay should not be this involved in Carl's work environment. Is he over there helping her run her PR business or whatever kind of business she has? Is he over there talking to her clients or talking to her people that she works with, asking about her performance? No. Carl is a grown man at the end of the day. Lindsay, you can give him advice as a partner if he's venting to you, right? But Carl, you have to grab your own balls. Don't involve Lindsay because you know how she is. She has too big of a personality. It's like she's his mama, being a lioness coming in protecting her son. Mind your business. That's all. Just mind your business, lady. Okay. So moving on, after this conversation, we all see everybody pretty much getting ready to go to the Hamptons again. Okay. So everybody is riding with whoever they're going to ride with. So Andrea is coming back to the house. So they discussed that too. But it was interesting in the car with the girls, there was Sam, Sierra, Gabby, and who was in the car with the girls? Who else was in there? Hold on, y'all, because I try to look at um hold on. Anyway, it was another person in the car that I can't remember with the girls. So basically, they said Sam is talking to them. Oh, it was Maya, Gabby, and Sierra in the car with Sam. So Sam was basically talking too daggone much, and they were annoyed by it. And so the girls, they get to the house and whatnot, and everybody's just like, damn, this girl just talked too damn much. Like she needs to shut the HE double hockey sticks up. Like I'm just like, well, if she's talking a lot, is what she's saying interesting? Because here's the thing, like she has a big personality and there is space for people like that in different environments. Now, is it sometimes annoying? Yes, it really, really is. But knowing how a person is, it just is what it is. You just navigate around it. I would not ask her to change herself. If she talk a lot, she just talk a lot. Y'all just know to listen for the interesting parts and tune out the rest. I mean, it is what it is. So then they ask her about Josh or Jake, whatever his name was from the last week, and she said, you know, he's just not that she's just not that into him. So she ain't talking to him. So they start talking about other stuff. So everybody is back at the house now. They're pulling up and Chris is there. Chris apparently has come with Amanda and Kyle. Okay, so everybody's talking about Andrea coming. Andrea is going to do this dinner for them and whatnot, kind of do a retake of the love dinner that he did the last time. They ended up with Sierra and daggone Danielle going for blows. So everybody comes to the house. Carl and Lindsay are there. Kyle greets them and introduces them to Chris, and they well not introduced because they seen him before, but anyway, they have like this awkward exchange. So Lindsay is basically like in her confessional talking about Carl and Kyle's conversation, which I don't understand why she all in it. It's just giving team too much. So moving on, as everything continues, everybody is settling in. Andrea arrives. Everybody is excited to see Andrea. um Maya takes Sam to the side and tells her that she talked too much. I'm like, girl, why did you do that? Like, I don't understand why you did that. That was just not needed for you to do that. And I'm gonna go kind of out of order a little bit here, y'all, because I think she did that in another scene. But anyway, because I should have just wrote dang on notes because this is not letting me skip the way it normally does. But anyway, the girls have a conversation about how she talks too much, and they go off and she goes and takes Sam into a corner and has a conversation with her about how everybody thinks she talks too damn much. And then Sam starts talking too much about how everybody always talking about how she feels like she has to shrink herself because she has a big personality. Maya, I'm gonna say this. On one hand, I can appreciate her being the person that's not fake to tell somebody something to their face, but also I think Maya does too much. Like, y'all already know I don't really like her. I don't see it for Maya. I just don't. She just rubs me the wrong way. It's just something in my very intuitive spirit that says that she's annoying. I don't like her. But I don't I appreciate her being honest with Sam, but I think it was kind of mean to tell the girl that. Like, it wasn't really needed to tell her that she talked too much. I'm sure people have already told her that. That's her personality. That's just what she do. So anyway, Andrea, everybody's excited to see him. Everybody's hugging him and greeting him and whatnot. So they sit down and have the dinner. Then they talk about all this weird sexual stuff. He said, this time we don't want to talk about love. We want to talk about sex. So they talk about child. Lindsay says Carl likes zebras, so she wear these zebra underwear, child. Okay, whatever. Then Gabby says that she likes to be choked just ever so slightly and something, but she don't like to be cuddled when she sleep. Don't touch her while she sleep. So Chris seems to have a problem with that. He's like, well, you women, like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm like, Chris, you just don't have no game, sir. That's why you ain't gonna get none. Because now you complain, and this girl is telling you, here's the thing, she's telling you how she likes to get to it and get down to the get down. All you got to do is adhere. If you like somebody, then you adhere to what they need. Okay. There's probably some quirks and kinks and things that you don't like or do like or whatever. And if somebody's going to do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. That doesn't mean that it's so difficult to be with women. Chris ain't got no game. He gonna struggle this summer. I can really see him struggling. So moving on. Everybody gets themselves together and they are all going to hang out after this dinner. Okay. So they all go out. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get past this little silly dinner so that I can tell y'all where the heck they went, because I forgot. So this is actually at this point where she goes and tell Maya goes and tell homegirl that she talked too daggone much. And while everybody's getting dressed and ready to go out, Carl and Lindsay decide to have a whole photo shoot in the living room. I'm like, girl, why y'all doing this? Who told y'all to just go and have a photo shoot in the living room? Who gives a damn? But anyway, moving on. So Kyle and Amanda are in the living room area. They're walking around. Then everybody comes back from when they were hanging out. Carl and Lindsay are in the room and they decide to stay there. They don't want to go out. So they're just going to lay in the bed and do whatever. So Kyle goes into the room with Danielle and he's telling her, listen, I feel bad about the other day, the conversation that we had. I feel like, you were just kind of collateral damage, but I just feel like Lindsay is in Carl's head. Like the dynamic is really changing. And Danielle said, yeah, I feel it too, because now Danielle is thinking, she's like, well, it used to be like the three of us, like it was me, Carl, and Lindsay. And now it's just Carl and Lindsay. And I'm like, Danielle, don't you got a boyfriend? Why you got to be the third wheel? Why you got to be under their wing all the time? I'm gonna need you to get a life. And Kyle, I need you to get a life too. You just can't work with Carl. I don't think that their friendship is going to work if they have to work together. Okay? And that's just what it is. Y'all keep on pitting everything on Lindsay, which it is partly her fault. I'm not even going to lie to y'all and sugarcoat that. Lindsay is a big, huge issue in most people's lives, okay? Especially the ones that are closest to her. She is a tornado of foolishness. But y'all can control that. Y'all allow Lindsay to have all this big placement in your life, especially you, Danielle, because Danielle's like, me and Lindsay did everything together and this, that, and the third. It's like You overly give of yourself to Lindsay. And I don't understand why. Like my best friend, we've been friends since we were 5 years old. But I don't have a higher expectation of her than she gives to me. Are we always on even playing fields? No. But I equally protect her just as much as she protects me. I don't see the balance between Danielle and Lindsay. Danielle is like this big, she like Debo when it comes to Lindsay. But Lindsay ain't poking her chest out for her. And that's sad. And Kyle was pretty much pointing that out. And, Danielle in that moment, I think she realized, man, I really have to figure out what my placement in this relationship is, because maybe I have higher expectations of them than they really, you know, have of me. So moving on, everybody is waking up the next morning. Carl and Lindsay are in the bed being nasty. They get up and decide to go have a little rump session in the bathroom, child, like we don't know. And Sam goes outside and talks to her mom and basically tell her that they done said that she talked too daggone much. And like, I feel like her mother was right. She said, don't minimize yourself for these people. Be yourself. And don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about what they say. Be yourself. If they can't take it, tough titty. Okay? Whatever. Because you don't need to shrink yourself for nobody, honey. And I appreciate that. I appreciate her mom big upping her. Now, at the same time, you take criticism with a grain of salt. Take what you want from it. You always want to improve yourself, and you always want to be self-aware of what other people think around you, but don't let what other people think rule you. Change what you want to change, and that's that on that. So she even talked about how in certain relationships a lot of guys even said that she was too much or whatever. Well, guess what? So what? So what? That ain't the guy for you. Carl and Lindsay go on some nature walk. Then they come back. Everybody is like, oh, okay, well, let's get together and we'll all get our clothes on for a pajama night. Okay. So while everybody is like getting themselves together to go do this pajama night, Sierra pulls Kyle to the side. So they have a conversation about Amanda and the tea party, where Amanda revealed that she hasn't gotten her period for 9 months. And with Sierra being in the medical field, being a nurse, that was really concerning to her. And I understand Amanda not wanting to go to the doctor because she's afraid. However, the longer you take to go and get the situation addressed, the less likely you are to be able to have positive results. You don't know what's going on inside your body. The earlier detection for anything is always the best policy. And I feel like, Amanda, while it's understandable that you're afraid, it's highly irresponsible to just throw it out of your head. Like, you feel like nothing's wrong with your body. You feel healthy every day, but you're not getting your period, and that's not normal. So Kyle is like, wow, I didn't know it was 9 months. But I guess, he's not watching the trash can for tampons and pads, I guess. Or maybe he should be. Or maybe he was thinking, oh, maybe this is a direct result of her, in the birth control. Or he's not a woman, so he don't know how that directly affects our bodies. So now he's like, man, I didn't even realize it was that long. Like, we really need to have a conversation about this. And he thanks Sierra for talking to him about it, and he's just kind of letting it sink in. So everybody goes and gets ready for this pajama party. And Kyle and Amanda are kind of roughhousing and playing a little bit. And he has a conversation with her saying, look, I didn't know that you haven't gotten your period in 9 months. Like, you need to go to the doctor. We really need to discuss this. So she's like, okay, well, I just really don't want to know. Like, I don't want any bad news. And, Kyle is thinking to himself, like, man, if you can't have children, that would be devastating or whatever. But we need to know what's going on. So I think Amanda was already in like a really sad mood after that, because now it put her into the mindset of, wow, now I really, really have to address this. So everybody sits down, they're talking and asking questions. And the first question is something about who's the freakiest or most sexual or something like that. And they say, somebody says it's Andrea. By the way, Gabby got a little crush on Andrea, and Andrea got a girlfriend. So Gabby, you get yourself together. But then she was like, well, even if he didn't have a girlfriend, like I don't think I'm ready because my ex really scarred me. Girl, that was 5 years ago, honey. Okay. It was a long time ago. I'm gonna need you to get over it real quick. Like let it burn like Usher, honey. Like let it go. Let it go. Let it flow. In my Tony Braxton voice. Stop, Gabby. Stop. Unless you just want to date your parents for the rest of your damn life. Then they say who would be the hardest to break up with, and people say somebody said Lindsay. And you are absolutely right, because Lindsay ass is crazy. Okay. Something wrong with her. It's she crazier than a June bug. Like something is literally loose inside of Lindsay's head. Lindsay is just a do what I say or else I'm going to be a tornado type of person. I don't even know how her and I think Carl, maybe he needs somebody that's going to stick up for him. And Lindsay is going to do that. She's going to be the voice. She's going to be the puppeteer. And that's the sad part. She's not a voice in a positive way to give him power. She's a voice to strip his power, be the voice box, and kind of like she absorbs people and controls them. And that's not a good trait. And Lindsay, I think she's a damn Leo too. And they like to tell people how they feel and think they know every damn thing. And you don't. A lot of like I would task Lindsay with trying to listen to what somebody is saying. And with them damn Leos, you can tell them the same thing over and over again. You can be telling them, this is what I need from you, this is what I'm lacking from you, this is what I need, like as your partner, this is what I need. But they're going to do whatever they want to do. And then when you get tired of it and you ready to leave their ass, then it's your fault. It's your problem. Because this is just how I am, and this is just how you need to deal with me. And that's kind of Lindsay's way of thinking about stuff. And that's not how it works in a relationship. If you love somebody, you have to be open to listening to how they think and how they feel, and making adjustments accordingly, not trying to absorb them, change them, and puppeteer them to make them do whatever you want them to do. It doesn't work like that. And it's very selfish. And Lindsay seems to do that in every relationship around her. She does it with Danielle. Danielle, as long as Danielle is doing whatever she wants her to do, then that it's okay. And I can see that where Danielle starts to take her power back, as we can see, they're going to have a breakdown in their relationship from the previews that we see on the show. So I can see how that can start to develop once Danielle realizes, hey, I'm always protecting you and I'm always trying to be here for you, but there's no reciprocity in this relationship. And Danielle has a very powerful personality too. So I can see her really getting upset and pissed over that. And that's going to be the ultimate breakdown of their relationship. So the last question, Danielle asked it, and she said, who do you trust the least? She asked, who do you trust the least in this group? And she says, Amanda. So Amanda immediately gets emotional. She leaves out of the room and goes into the room and cries, upset. I think it was a lot. I think Amanda was already upset because of the whole, Kyle talking about the 9 months thing. She's realizing that she needs to go and attend to her health and take care of some things. Her and Lindsay are already having a back and forth, behind the scenes that she don't know about, because earlier in the episode, Lindsay was talking about how she feels disrespected by Amanda, because Amanda said, yeah, Carl works for our business and I feel like Lindsay is tainting him. Girl, first of all, where's the lie? Just because Amanda is the graphic designer of the business, you do know that her husband owns the business. I don't know if they have a prenup or not. We didn't really dive further into that. from the last season when people were talking about them getting a prenup and Amanda didn't want to sign one. But please believe, just like you, Lindsay, have influence over Carl and you telling him to do his worth and blah, 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 get paid for your worth. Stick your chest out. Say what you got to say. Say it with your chest. Tell Kyle how to run his business because you the one doing all the work. Who the, what? While you puppeteering Carl, don't you think that Amanda has that same effect on Kyle? She around him 24/7. You don't think that that's her business too? Just because she don't walk around saying I own Loverboy, that's her husband's business. You think she don't see all the foolishness? She got a front row seat to Carl's BS. You getting secondhand information from what Carl is telling you. She sees it up front. She sees that you're tainting him. She sees the change in him since y'all got together. Amanda, while very ditzy at times and self-centered, is very intelligent. She has eyes. She can see what's going on. So now you're going to tell her how she should feel? That's the problem with Lindsay. Lindsay want to tell everybody how they should feel. She want to control everybody's reaction. Now you want to run Loverboy on the side. Girl, stop. Worry about yourself because you are obviously too involved in Carl's job. Carl just need to, I'm glad he don't work at Loverboy. Spoiler alert, if you don't watch What Happens Live, then sorry. But it's already been revealed he don't work there no more. But I'm glad he doesn't. Because this is too much. It's team too much. But moving on. So as she's upset, of course, Kyle goes to check on Amanda to see how she's doing. Then, Sierra comes over and is talking to Danielle and Lindsay. And she's like, well, what sparked that? Like, why'd you say that? Do you have a problem with Amanda? So basically, again, Danielle is taking on Lindsay's battles. She's taking on Lindsay's feelings and emotions because she going off of what Lindsay tells her about Amanda instead of having her own opinion about Amanda. She's like, well, Amanda, she really is kind of like a silent assassin, sort of. Like, she kind of takes it in and just, you never know what she's thinking. Girl, we don't know what you're thinking 24/7. Oh, you know what? I do know what you're thinking. Let me ask Lindsay because she seems to be the one to be your mouthpiece. She seems to be the one that you take on her personality and do whatever she says. So let me ask Lindsay what you should be thinking right now because that's how you seem to function, Danielle. Get your own life. Why are you riding Lindsay's? It's ridiculous. Girl, it's like you want to be with Lindsay. You want to wear this broad. Get your own personality, Danielle. It's very annoying at this point, and everybody sees it. So Lindsay is like, yeah, because Amanda, she has a problem with me, and she's telling me, that I'm tainting Carl, blah, blah, blah. So then Kyle, obviously, he's pissed because he like, oh, you ain't about to be effing with my wife. First, you over here brainwashing my best friend, ruining my business. Okay, I don't know what he's doing. I'm over here trying to change his job title to make him happy, which Kyle, I don't think you should do that. That was right then and there at that first scene at that table. You should have fired Carl because Carl basically admitted that he ain't doing no damn work. You should have just let him go and say, well, you know what? To preserve our friendship, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable anymore. I think that, this workload of what I need for my vice president of sales, this is what I need my vice president of sales to do. And what you're telling me is that that's overwhelming. So you know what? In order to preserve our friendship, I think that we should just let that go. Let the business side go. Let's remain friends, work on repairing that, right? But I'm gonna get somebody else to do this. Get somebody else to do it. I'm gonna get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do this job because I need the performance that you think you're giving at 90 hours a week. I actually need somebody to do it for maybe 40, 50 hours a week at the pay that I'm giving them. And I need to actually see what they're doing. I can't see what you're doing. And you're asking me for more money. I can't put two and two together. So I think we should let you go. That's what I would have said to Carl in that meeting. But yet Kyle is trying to finagle and finesse the situation and change his job title and make him happy. And Lindsay's like, Kyle is not doing what it takes to make Carl happy. Girl, don't nobody gotta make you happy at work. Do you think my fucking boss is running around, let me figure out how to make Sharon A happy at work? No, he's not. He's trying to figure out how to make me productive, or not keep me productive, remain productive, because that is the main word you need to look at. Keep, remain, not make. Because if you got to make, that means you got to create, and you got to put it in somebody. And then that means that I need to start looking for somebody, because if you ain't cultivated it yet and you've been working for Loverboy this long, that's a problem. It's a problem. Okay, it's a performance issue at this time. And Lindsay, just mind your business. That's all. You don't work here. What's going on with your business? Because we don't see you working. Only thing we see you working at this point is your mouth in everybody else's business. So Kyle comes out. He's pissed because he like, oh, y'all are effing with my wife, and I ain't having it. Okay, because I don't know who you think you dealing with. It's a new around this house right now, and what you not about to do be effing with my wife. Okay, she is the nicest person in here, and y'all are out here. So he comes out here. He's like, and y'all are out here, letting Lindsay do and say whatever she wants. She's around here just controlling everybody's emotions, and she's the real, the real bee in the house. Y'all are not addressing that. And my wife is the nicest person ever, and she doesn't do anything to anybody. And you know what? You, Lindsay, okay? He ain't say all that, but I know that's what he really wanted to say. So he went on a tangent, okay? And Danielle is over here pissed. She's looking at Carl like, Carl, he's being a dick. He's talking about your wife. You not going to, your girl, you ain't going to protect her? Like, stand up, do something. Here's the thing, Danielle. You can't control nobody's reaction, honey. That ain't what Carl do. Carl's bodyguard is Lindsay. Lindsay does all of that for Carl. Carl can't even defend himself at work with Kyle. And that's for one of two reasons. One, he's really not doing his job, and Kyle is right. So he really don't have no defense. Or two, he is doing his job, and he just a puss and don't know how to defend himself. And Lindsay is being his mouthpiece. There's it's one or the other. And you, Danielle, right now are being both of their mouthpiece by speaking. Let them handle it. Y'all are talking about how much they're a couple and, they are tyrants in the house now that they're together. And they're, now that Lindsay and Carl are together, it's a problem. Let them handle their problems, which at present moment is Kyle expressing himself. Kyle is finally being honest with his emotions and his feelings and how he's really upset. He don't like the way Lindsay is puppeteering his friend. He don't like the way she just talked to his wife. And Kyle don't need a mouthpiece. He is his own mouthpiece. He's going to say what he got to say, drunk or whatever. He gonna let you have it. And he over here protecting his wife. Carl don't seem to want to protect his girl. So y'all, I can't wait to see how this ends up next week, because I think this is going to be the initial breakdown of Danielle, the trio of foolishness, because Danielle is going to get mad that they didn't get up and say something. And sometimes in certain situations, it's really not worth it to be saying a whole bunch of stuff. Like, what you want them to do? Go back and forth arguing right now? This is just a clear indication that they don't need to be working together. And that Lindsay needs to mind her business and not worry about what's going on at Loverboy. Go do the job that pays you and let Carl figure out his own career. And that's that on that. Thank y'all for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody else that's watching Summer House with us. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell so you can know when I come back on to talk to you again. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching, and peace out.